Multifaceted. Having many different aspects or features. Multifaceted problem. Multifaceted phenomenon. Multifaceted challenge. Multifaceted perspective. The problem is multifaceted, requiring economic and political solutions. The novel offers a multifaceted portrayal of modern family relationships. Intrinsic. Naturally belonging to something by nature. Intrinsic value. Intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic characteristic. Intrinsic property. Learning has intrinsic value, even without immediate practical benefits. Every culture possesses intrinsic traditions that shape its collective identity. Cumulative. Increasing through successive additions over time. Cumulative benefits. Cumulative pressure. Cumulative knowledge. Cumulative consequences. The cumulative impact of pollution threatens several coastal communities. Small savings can create substantial cumulative financial benefits over time. Prevalence. The widespread occurrence of something. Growing prevalence. Widespread prevalence. Prevalence of poverty. Prevalence of crime. The prevalence of obesity has increased among urban populations widely. The prevalence of misinformation threatens informed public decision-making. Divergent. Developing in different or opposite directions. Divergent opinions. Divergent perspectives. Divergent interpretations. Divergent outcomes. The two scientists developed divergent explanations for the phenomenon. Divergent viewpoints can encourage deeper analysis of complicated issues. Conventional. Based on commonly accepted practices. Conventional wisdom. Conventional approach. Conventional methods. Conventional practices. Conventional wisdom does not always reflect modern scientific evidence. The company adopted conventional strategies to minimize financial risks. Autonomous. Independent and able to govern itself. Autonomous system. Autonomous vehicle. Autonomous operation. Autonomous governance. Autonomous vehicles could transform transportation systems in major cities. Students should become autonomous learners through effective study habits. Augment. Increase something by adding more. Augment current efforts. Augment productivity. Augment the workforce. Augment existing systems. Technology helps augment human abilities in many professional fields. Reading widely can augment your vocabulary and critical thinking skills. Empirical. Based on observation or practical evidence. Empirical evidence. Empirical investigation. Empirical observations. Empirical validation. Empirical findings challenged several assumptions about human behavior. His conclusions were based on empirical measurements rather than opinions. Proponent. Someone who supports an idea strongly. Proponent of reform. Proponent of democracy. Proponent of change. Proponent of innovation. She became a strong proponent of renewable energy policies nationwide. Several proponents argued that technology improves educational accessibility. Subsequent. Occurring or happening after something else. Subsequent consequences. Subsequent generations. Subsequent analysis. Subsequent stages. Subsequent investigations revealed several previously overlooked problems. After the initial failure, subsequent attempts became increasingly successful. Repercussion. A consequence resulting from an action. Far-reaching repercussions. Unintended repercussions. Long-term repercussions. Potential repercussions. The scandal had lasting repercussions for the company's public reputation. Poor planning can create significant repercussions for future development. Alleviate. Make something less severe or painful. Alleviate chronic pain. Alleviate social inequality. Alleviate economic burdens. Alleviate public concerns. Regular exercise can alleviate stress and improve overall mental well-being. Better transportation could alleviate congestion across major urban centers. Pragmatic. Practical and focused on results. Pragmatic approach. Pragmatic consideration. Pragmatic compromise. Pragmatic assessment. Pragmatic leaders usually prioritize achievable goals over idealistic promises. A pragmatic approach often produces better results than unrealistic idealism. Exacerbate. Make a problem significantly worse. Exacerbate social divisions. Exacerbate the crisis. Exacerbate public anxiety. Exacerbate inequality. Climate change can exacerbate water shortages across vulnerable regions. Poor sleep can exacerbate existing health problems and reduce concentration. Contentious. Causing disagreement or strong argument. Contentious issue. Contentious debate. Contentious proposal. Contentious decision. Their contentious debate significantly delayed the committee's final decision. The proposed law remains contentious among citizens and opposition leaders. Paradigm. A typical model, pattern, and example. Dominant paradigm. Scientific paradigm. Emerging paradigm. Established paradigm. The discovery created a new paradigm for understanding human intelligence. Online learning has disrupted the traditional paradigm of classroom instruction. Mitigate. Reduce the harmful effects significantly. Mitigate potential risks. Mitigate financial losses. Mitigate social tensions. Mitigate potential threats. Community programs can mitigate poverty by providing essential resources. Education can mitigate prejudice by encouraging empathy and understanding. Scrupulous. Extremely careful, honest, and thorough. Scrupulous attention. Scrupulous investigation. Scrupulous examination. Scrupulous accuracy. The accountant was scrupulous when reviewing every financial transaction. Journalists must be scrupulous when carefully verifying sensitive information. Cohesion. Unity among members of a group. Social cohesion. Community cohesion. Cultural cohesion. Institutional cohesion. The report examines social cohesion among diverse urban communities. Effective leadership can strengthen cohesion within a divided organization. Delineate. Describe or mark something precisely. Delineate clear boundaries. Delineate key differences. Delineate respective roles. Delineate major factors. The diagram clearly delineates the boundaries between different regions. Scientists used satellite images to delineate changing coastal boundaries. Inadvertent. Unintentional or accidental in nature. Inadvertent mistake. Inadvertent disclosure. Inadvertent exposure. Inadvertent damage. Her inadvertent comment offended several colleagues during the meeting. His inadvertent actions created unnecessary difficulties for the organization. Legitimate. Lawful, valid, and accepted as genuine. Legitimate concern. Legitimate criticism. Legitimate expectation. Legitimate justification. The company offered a legitimate solution to the customer's complaint. Consumers should verify whether online sellers are legitimate businesses. Conundrum. A difficult problem with no solution. Political conundrum. Ethical conundrum. Economic conundrum. Intractable conundrum. Finding affordable housing remains a serious conundrum for young workers. The puzzle posed a fascinating conundrum for experienced mathematicians. Corroborate. Confirm something using additional evidence. Corroborate the evidence. Corroborate the findings. Corroborate the testimony. Corroborate the claim. Scientists found additional evidence to corroborate the original hypothesis. Her testimony was independently corroborated by 2 eyewitnesses present. Inevitable. Certain to happen and unavoidable eventually. Inevitable consequence. Inevitable transformation. Inevitable repercussions. Inevitable progression. With continued rainfall, flooding became inevitable across several districts. After years of neglect, the building's collapse seemed inevitable eventually. Undermine. Weaken something gradually or secretly. Undermine social stability. Undermine economic growth. Undermine credibility. Undermine authority. Inflation can severely undermine household savings and financial stability. Poor planning could significantly undermine the project's long-term success. Proliferation. Rapid increase or spread of something. Proliferation of technology. Proliferation of weapons. Proliferation of businesses. Proliferation of regulations. The proliferation of invasive species seriously threatens native ecosystems. Globalization has contributed to the proliferation of international businesses. Conspicuous. Easily noticed because of obvious appearance. Conspicuous absence. Conspicuous feature. Conspicuous difference. Conspicuous success. His conspicuous absence surprised everyone during the important meeting. The mansion remained conspicuous against the surrounding modest houses. Sustainable. Able to continue without causing damage. Sustainable growth. Sustainable practices. Sustainable lifestyle. Sustainable agriculture. Modern cities need sustainable solutions for transportation and housing. Tourism should become more sustainable to protect natural environments. Scrutiny. Careful and detailed examination of something. Under intense scrutiny. Parliamentary scrutiny. Rigorous scrutiny. Judicial scrutiny. Her decision faced public scrutiny after the controversial announcement. Financial reports should receive thorough scrutiny before official publication. Detrimental. Causing harm or negative effects. Detrimental effects. Detrimental consequences. Detrimental influence. Detrimental to society. Smoking has numerous detrimental consequences for cardiovascular health. Excessive screen time can be detrimental to children's concentration abilities. Substantiate. Provide evidence supporting a particular claim. Substantiate the claim. Substantiate the argument. Substantiate the findings. Substantiate the evidence. The lawyer presented documents to substantiate the client's innocence. His explanation lacked sufficient evidence to substantiate the accusation. Nuance. A subtle difference in meaning. subtle nuance, linguistic nuance, political nuance, important nuance. The speaker explained the subtle nuance behind his controversial statement. The professor encouraged students to explore nuance within historical events. Catalyst. Something causing change or rapid development. Catalyst for change. Catalyst for innovation. Catalyst for reform. Catalyst for growth. Curiosity was the catalyst behind his remarkable academic achievements. Innovation became the catalyst for rapid industry transformation worldwide. Incentive. Something motivating someone to act. Financial incentive. Powerful incentive. Incentive structure. Incentive scheme. Tax reductions create an incentive for business investment opportunities. The company offered employees a financial incentive for higher productivity. Marginalize. Treat someone as less important unfairly. Marginalize vulnerable groups. Marginalize certain voices. Marginalize political opponents. Marginalize vulnerable individuals. Ignoring opinions may marginalize employees during important decisions. Certain communities continue to feel marginalized by unequal opportunities. Inherent. Existing naturally as an essential quality. Inherent limitations. Inherent complexity. Inherent contradiction. Inherent uncertainty. Curiosity remains an inherent trait among successful researchers globally. Every language contains inherent complexities that learners must understand. Fluctuate. Change repeatedly between different levels. Fluctuate considerably. Fluctuate dramatically. Fluctuate seasonally. Fluctuate within a range. Stock values can fluctuate rapidly after unexpected market announcements. Electricity consumption may fluctuate during extremely hot summer weather. Predicament. A difficult situation requiring careful resolution. Difficult predicament. Awkward predicament. Political predicament. Escape a predicament. The unexpected delay placed travelers in an uncomfortable predicament. His financial predicament prevented him from pursuing higher education. Legitimize. Make something acceptable, valid, or official. Legitimize political authority. Legitimize social institutions. Legitimize political claims. Legitimize the regime. Public support may legitimize provocative policies during difficult periods. Clear regulations can legitimize businesses operating in emerging industries. Consolidate. Combine separate things into one stronger whole. Consolidate power. Consolidate resources. Consolidate authority. Consolidate financial assets. The company plans to consolidate several departments after the merger. Regular reviews can consolidate knowledge acquired throughout the course. Precarious. Unstable and likely to become dangerous. Precarious situation. Precarious balance. Precarious existence. Precarious circumstances. His financial situation remained precarious after losing his primary income. The peace agreement remains precarious despite recent diplomatic progress. Assimilate. Absorb and understand new information fully. Assimilate complex ideas. Assimilate new knowledge. Assimilate into society. Assimilate diverse cultures. The brain needs time to assimilate information during intensive instruction. New members gradually assimilate the organization's values and expectations. Substantive. Significant and dealing with essential matters. Substantive change. Substantive progress. Substantive contribution. Substantive differences. His speech offered substantive solutions rather than vague promises today. Both parties agreed to discuss substantive issues during negotiations today. Hypothetical. Based on an imagined possible situation. Hypothetical situation. Hypothetical question. Hypothetical argument. Hypothetical assumption. His hypothetical explanation lacked evidence from real-world observations. The professor presented a hypothetical situation to test students' reasoning. Imperative. Absolutely necessary or extremely important. Moral imperative. Strategic imperative. Absolute imperative. Imperative to act. It remains imperative to preserve historical records for future researchers. Environmental protection has become an imperative for future generations. Concurrent. Existing simultaneously or side by side. Concurrent events. Concurrent symptoms. Concurrent infections. Concurrent occurrences. The two conferences were held concurrently, allowing attendees to choose preferred sessions. His promotion and new responsibilities came concurrently with the company's major expansion. Predominant. Present as the strongest or main element. A predominant symptom. A predominant characteristic. A predominant influence. A predominant role. The predominant language spoken in the country is English, though other dialects are present. Agriculture remains the predominant industry in the region, employing most of the population. Recession. A temporary depression in economic activity. A global recession. A severe recession. An economic recession. Survive a recession. During the recession, many small businesses struggled to keep their doors open and operating. A prolonged recession could result in financial challenges for both households and corporations. Compulsory. Required by law or rule, mandatory. Compulsory vaccination. Compulsory schooling. Compulsory retirement. Compulsory insurance. Military service is compulsory in some countries for young adults upon reaching adulthood. Compulsory attendance at meetings ensures that everyone is informed about company changes. Pioneering. Leading the way in new developments or ideas. Pioneering work. Pioneering research. Pioneering concept. Pioneering initiative. The company's pioneering approach to design has set new standards across the tech industry. Her pioneering research in medicine has paved the way for revolutionary treatments and cures. Consensus. Agreement among all the people involved. A scientific consensus. A cross-party consensus. A broad consensus. A general consensus. Without a consensus, the committee struggled to make decisions about the upcoming targets. After lengthy discussions, the team finally reached a consensus on the project's main objectives. Cross-section. A representative sample of a larger group. A cross-section of people. A cross-section of society. Cross-section analysis. Cross-sectional study. The architect presented a cross-section of the building, showcasing the design's unique structure. A cross-section of the community showed varied opinions on the proposed neighborhood changes. Demographic. Relating to the structure of a population. A demographic change. A demographic shift. A demographic trend. A demographic transition. This demographic shift suggests new policies will be necessary to meet community needs. Demographic data is crucial for businesses looking to expand into new and emerging markets. Deviation. Departure from a standard or norm. Deviation from a norm. Deviation from a path. Deviation from a pattern. Deviation from a rule. The scientist noted a slight deviation in the experimental results, impacting her overall findings. Deviation from guidelines may result in unexpected challenges that require immediate attention. Endorsement. A form of public support or approval. Endorsement of a product. Endorsement of a brand. Endorsement of a company. Endorsement of a movie. The product received celebrity endorsement, significantly increasing its sales nationwide. A powerful endorsement from well-known figures can drastically affect consumer perceptions. Exacerbate. To make a situation worse or more severe. Exacerbate a problem. Exacerbate a situation. Exacerbate a conflict. Exacerbate a crisis. Economic instability may exacerbate social inequalities, especially in underdeveloped regions. Lack of early intervention could exacerbate the effects of natural disasters on local communities. Hierarchy. Organizing people according to status. A social hierarchy. A corporate hierarchy. A bureaucratic hierarchy. A business hierarchy. Promotions are often influenced by the existing hierarchy and long-standing company policies. In traditional societies, social hierarchy often determines individual roles within the community. Indigenous. Originating naturally in a particular place. Indigenous community. Indigenous people. Indigenous language. Indigenous culture. Indigenous rights activists advocate for land protection and respect for traditional ways of life. The festival celebrates the rich traditions and customs of indigenous communities in the region. Momentum. The quantity of motion of a moving body. Gain a momentum. Maintain momentum. Keep momentum. Lose momentum. The movement for social change gained momentum through widespread media coverage. Once they started, the team built momentum and completed the project ahead of schedule. Sovereign. Possessing supreme or ultimate power. A sovereign nation. A sovereign state. A sovereign government. A sovereign society. The country's sovereign rights include the ability to control its borders and govern its people. As a sovereign state, the nation has the power to make decisions without external interference. Metaphorical. Something that is used symbolically. Metaphorical language. Metaphorical meaning. Metaphorical narrative. Metaphorical approach. She employed a metaphorical approach, making complex ideas accessible to a wide audience. His metaphorical comparison between life and a river illustrated the flow of human experience. Pressing. Urgent or needing to be dealt with immediately. A pressing issue. A pressing concern. A pressing problem. A pressing question. There is a pressing deadline for this project, so everyone must prioritize their tasks carefully. Climate change is a pressing issue which requires immediate global action to mitigate its impacts. Repercussion. A consequence, especially a negative one. Serious repercussions. Potential repercussions. Negative repercussions. Damaging repercussions. The economic repercussions of the pandemic are still being felt by businesses worldwide today. Every choice we make can have a repercussion, influencing future opportunities and interactions. Diplomatic. Smoothness and skill in handling others. Diplomatic activities. Diplomatic discussion. Diplomatic mission. Diplomatic relations. The diplomatic mission was successful in securing vital trade deals with neighboring nations. A diplomatic solution was preferred over military intervention during the international crisis. Exposure. The act of exposing, laying open, or uncovering. Public exposure. Radiation exposure. Radioactive exposure. Toxic exposure. Long-term exposure to loud noise can lead to hearing damage and other health problems. Exposure to different cultures broadened his perspective and influenced his career choices. Coincidence. When two things happen at the same time. A happy coincidence. A strange coincidence. A creepy coincidence. A fortunate coincidence. It was a strange coincidence that both of us were attending the same conference abroad. It's no coincidence that the most successful people are also the most disciplined and focused. Unanimous. A complete or absolute agreement. Unanimous verdict. Unanimous agreement. Unanimous vote. Unanimous support. The team reached a unanimous conclusion that the project should be completed by next week. The decision to implement the new policy was unanimous, with no objections from any member. Acknowledge. To recognize or admit the existence of truth. Acknowledge an error. Acknowledge a risk. Acknowledge the need. Acknowledge the truth. He refused to acknowledge the mistakes in the report, despite clear evidence to the contrary. We should acknowledge our mistakes, learn from them, and strive for continuous improvement. Aesthetic. Related to beauty or artistic expression. Aesthetic beauty. Aesthetic appeal. Aesthetic response. Aesthetic judgment. His unique aesthetic sense made him a well-regarded artist in the contemporary art world. The aesthetic of the sculpture was both striking and graceful, blending elegance with strength. Consecutive. Following each other continuously. Consecutive days. Consecutive nights. Consecutive months. Consecutive years. Consecutive deadlines can be overwhelming, requiring excellent time management skills. The event was postponed due to consecutive days of heavy rain that made conditions unsafe. Assurance. Confidence or certainty in something. An assurance of safety. An assurance of security. An assurance of support. An assurance of loyalty. Assurance from management helped the employees feel secure about the company's future. Assurance from trusted mentors can be vital in making crucial career decisions with confidence. Coherent. Logical and well-organized, easy to understand. A coherent strategy. A coherent policy. A coherent plan. A coherent approach. Effective communication requires coherent thoughts, to avoid misinterpretation or confusion. A coherent explanation helps readers understand complex ideas, without feeling overwhelmed. Framework. A basic structure underlying a system. Develop a framework. Establish a framework. Set a framework. Regulate a framework. The social framework of the community has shifted due to changing cultural norms and values. The framework for the new software development project includes timelines and specific goals. Depiction. A representation in words or images. A graphic depiction. An accurate depiction. A realistic depiction. A vivid depiction. The documentary's depiction of wildlife behavior captivated nature enthusiasts worldwide. The movie's depiction of historical events was praised for its accuracy and attention to detail. Deterioration. The process of becoming progressively worse. Rapid deterioration. Physical deterioration. Environmental deterioration. Economic deterioration. Mental deterioration in elderly patients can often be slowed through cognitive exercises. Environmental deterioration is a growing concern as pollution levels continue to rise globally. Dogma. A set of firm beliefs held by a group. Ideological dogma. Religious dogma. Cultural dogma. Outdated dogma. Some people challenge societal dogma to promote progressive thinking and foster innovation. Cultural dogma often dictates acceptable behavior, influencing community values and customs. Empirical. Derived from experiment and observation. An empirical observation. An empirical finding. From empirical evidence. From empirical analysis. Scientists rely on empirical data to validate their hypotheses and make accurate conclusions. Policy changes are more effective when based on empirical findings rather than assumptions. Archaeological. The study of ancient civilizations and artifacts. Archaeological evidence. Archaeological finds. Archaeological site. Archaeological treasure. This region is known for its archaeological sites, attracting researchers and tourists alike. The archaeological team uncovered a burial site that dates back over 3,000 years. Initiative. A new plan of action to achieve a goal. Government initiative. Research initiatives. Practical initiative. Diplomatic initiative. Her initiative in organizing the event led to its success and community-wide appreciation. She took the initiative to organize the team-building event, boosting morale and teamwork. Arbitrary. Decided or arranged without any reason. An arbitrary arrest. An arbitrary imprisonment. An arbitrary execution. An arbitrary deadline. The company's pricing structure seemed arbitrary, with no transparent logic behind the rates. The rules for the game seemed arbitrary, with no clear reasoning behind many of the decisions. Propaganda. Information of a biased or misleading nature. Spread propaganda. Disseminate propaganda. Believe propaganda. Prevent propaganda. The government's propaganda promoted the war effort, influencing public opinion in favor. Propaganda posters were widely distributed, encouraging people to support the movement. Provoke. To cause a particular reaction or feeling. Provoke a reaction. Provoke a response. Provoke a backlash. Provoke an outcry. Her decision to quit suddenly might provoke frustration among her colleagues and manager. His comments were intended to provoke a reaction, sparking lively debate among the audience. Entity. Something that has a real existence. A distinct entity. A separate entity. An autonomous entity. An independent entity. The government created an independent entity to oversee the regulation of new technologies. The research team analyzed the entity's structure and how it interacts with the local community. Facilitate. To make something possible or easier. Facilitate dialogue. Facilitate cooperation. Facilitate integration. Facilitate access. The new software will facilitate communication between remote teams working on the project. The goal of the seminar is to facilitate discussions about innovative approaches to problem solving. Genetic. Relating to the science of genetics. Genetic engineering. Genetic modification. Genetic mutation. Genetic testing. Genetic research has made significant progress in understanding how diseases are inherited. Advances in genetic engineering have opened up new possibilities for treating genetic disorders. Ideology. A set of ideas, beliefs, and attitudes. A political ideology. A religious ideology. A secular ideology. A liberal ideology. The rise of social media has given platforms to various political ideologies and movements. The group's radical ideology influenced its actions, which ultimately led to widespread conflict. Exemption. Permission to ignore rules or obligations. Exemption from a law. Exemption from a tax. Seek an exemption. Grant an exemption. The exemption allows the organization to bypass certain taxes, increasing its financial flexibility. Employees may qualify for an exemption from the policy based on their individual circumstances. Redundancy. A situation where the worker is no longer needed. Voluntary redundancy. Compulsory redundancies. A redundancy package. A redundancy notice. Redundancy in communication can help clarify important points but may seem repetitive. The company implemented redundancy measures to ensure data is not lost during outages. Safeguard. A measure is taken to protect something. A legal safeguard. An adequate safeguard. An appropriate safeguard. An environmental safeguard. A good insurance policy can safeguard your family's financial future in case of an emergency. To safeguard the environment, the company adopted sustainable practices for all its operations. Speculation. Guessing or forming theories without firm evidence. Intense speculation. Widespread speculation. Fuel speculation. Spark speculation. The sudden drop in stock prices led to widespread speculation about the company's future. Much of the media coverage was based on speculation rather than confirmed facts or evidence. Status quo. The current situation or state of affairs. Maintain the status quo. Support the status quo. Change the status quo. Threaten the status quo. Many people are resistant to change and prefer to stick to the status quo in their routines. Maintaining the status quo often prevents progress but ensures stability in uncertain times. Tentative. not certain, unsettled in mind or opinion. A tentative agreement. A tentative settlement. A tentative conclusion. A tentative theory. The meeting schedule is still tentative, as we are waiting for confirmation from the client. A tentative agreement was reached, but it still requires approval from all parties involved. Withstand. To endure or resist something without giving way. Withstand an attack. Withstand a challenge. Withstand an onslaught. Withstand an earthquake. They managed to withstand the harsh winter conditions thanks to their warm and sturdy shelter. The building was designed to withstand strong earthquakes, ensuring safety during seismic activity. Franchise. Acting as an agent for a company's products. A franchise holder. A franchise outlet. A franchise chain. A franchise store. As a franchise owner, you must follow the brand's guidelines and maintain quality standards. Owning a fast food franchise can be a profitable business venture with proper management. Penultimate. Occurring immediately before the last one. The penultimate stage. The penultimate phase. The penultimate chapter. The penultimate paragraph. The penultimate chapter of the book reveals a shocking twist that changes the story's course. The penultimate round of the competition was incredibly tense, with only a few contestants left. Pollination. Transfer the pollen from one plant to another. Pollination of crops. Pollination of flowers. Pollination by bees. Pollination by insects. Bees play a critical role in the pollination process, ensuring plants can reproduce successfully. Without efficient pollination, crop yields would decline, impacting food availability worldwide. Portrait. A painting, drawing, or photograph of a person. A vivid portrait. A full-length portrait. A portrait painter. A portrait photographer. The artist painted a stunning portrait that captured the true essence of the person's character. His family commissioned a portrait to commemorate his lifelong contributions to the community. Prolong. To make something last a longer time. Prolong suffering. Prolong agony. Prolong conflict. Prolong recession. The doctor advised taking medication to prolong the patient's life and improve overall health. The corporation decided to prolong the product launch due to unforeseen supply chain issues. Precaution. A careful action you take in advance. Safety precaution. Security precaution. Extra precaution. Health precaution. Before traveling, she took extra precaution by checking the weather and packing accordingly. Taking precaution, he double-checked all equipment to ensure safety before starting the climb. Succinct. Very brief in statement or expression. A succinct summary. A succinct description. A succinct statement. A succinct verdict. The proposal was succinct and persuasive, capturing the client's attention right from the start. The instructions were succinct, allowing us to understand the task without unnecessary details. Transitional. Relating to a change from one state to another. A transitional period. A transitional phase. A transitional government. A transitional administration. The transitional government worked to stabilize the country following the end of the conflict. The transitional phase between childhood and adolescence can be difficult for many teenagers. Abundant. Existing or available in large quantities. Abundant resources. Abundant supply. Abundant evidence. Abundant energy. The ocean is abundant with diverse marine life, each species contributing to the ecosystem. The region has abundant natural resources, providing economic stability and job opportunities. Abuse. The use of something in a harmful or wrong way. Abuse of alcohol. Abuse of drugs. Abuse of authority. Abuse of power. Substance abuse remains a major health issue that affects families and communities alike. Abuse of resources has led to environmental degradation and scarcity of essential materials. Adverse. Having a negative or harmful effect on something. Adverse effects. Adverse reaction. Adverse outcome. Adverse circumstances. His actions had adverse consequences that affected his career and personal relationships. Prolonged exposure to adverse conditions can severely impact one's physical and mental health. Adolescence. Time between childhood and adulthood. During adolescence. Before adolescence. Reach adolescence. Approach adolescence. Many challenges arise during adolescence, including identity formation and peer pressure. Adolescence is a critical period for emotional and psychological development in young people. Connotation. Something suggested by a word or thing. Negative connotation. Positive connotation. Racist connotation. Emotional connotation. Certain colors have cultural connotations, such as red symbolizing luck in many Asian cultures. While freedom has a positive connotation in most cultures, it can be misunderstood in others. Violation. The action of violating someone or something. Security violation. Copyright violation. Workplace violence. Domestic violence. Breaking the curfew was considered a violation of the community rules and led to penalties. The government issued a warning after the violation of safety protocols at the construction site. Adjacent. Next to or adjoining something else. Adjacent building. Adjacent neighborhood. Adjacent area. Adjacent land. Our office is located adjacent to the main conference room for easy access during meetings. The restaurant's location is adjacent to a popular tourist attraction, drawing more customers. Analogy. A comparison between one thing with another. Make an analogy. Draw an analogy. A useful analogy. A false analogy. The teacher used an analogy to explain the complex concept in a way that everyone understood. She used an analogy of a marathon runner to emphasize the importance of persistence in business. Ancestry. Line of descent or the origin of your family. Maternal ancestry. Paternal ancestry. Jewish ancestry. Muslim ancestry. Exploring her ancestry, she found connections to many historical figures in distant regions. Ancestry research revealed surprising family histories that had been unknown for many years. Census. An official survey or count of a population. Conduct a census. Carry out a census. A population census. A nationwide census. Accurate census data helps policymakers make informed decisions on public resource allocation. The census revealed changes in the population's demographics, impacting future policy planning. Cognitive. The processes of thinking and reasoning. Cognitive development. Cognitive impairment. Cognitive skills. Cognitive psychology. Cognitive development in children is influenced by both genetics and early life experiences. Regular exercise has been shown to enhance cognitive functions and improve mental well-being. Epidemic. A widespread occurrence of an infectious disease. A global epidemic. A deadly epidemic. An infectious epidemic. A malaria epidemic. The flu epidemic spread rapidly, affecting thousands of people within a short period of time. Public health officials work tirelessly to manage the epidemic and minimize its societal impact. Inherent. Existing in a natural and permanent way. An inherent risk. An inherent danger. An inherent characteristic. An inherent contradiction. The risks associated with mountaineering are inherent in the sport and cannot be avoided. The inherent risks of mountain climbing make safety precautions essential for every expedition. Archive. A collection of records or documents. An archive of photographs. An archive of documents. A digital archive. An online archive. The museum's archive offers an incredible collection of artifacts from diverse cultures and eras. Researchers can access the digital archive to study historical records from various time periods. Artifact. Old object with historical importance. A cultural artifact. A historical artifact. An archaeological artifact. An ancient artifact. Museums house artifacts that offer a glimpse into past civilizations and cultural practices. The archaeologists studied the artifact, analyzing its materials and design for cultural insights. Dwindling. Gradually diminishing in size, amount, or strength. Dwindling supply. Dwindling resources. Dwindling economy. Dwindling population. Dwindling membership numbers led the organization to explore new strategies for engagement. The community faced challenges due to dwindling resources and the impact on local businesses. Biodiversity. The enormous variety of life on Earth. Animal biodiversity. Marine biodiversity. Global biodiversity. Threatened biodiversity. Human activities often threaten biodiversity, leading to species loss and habitat degradation. Conservation efforts aim to preserve biodiversity and protect endangered species from extinction. Emerging. Just beginning to exist or be noticed. Emerging markets. Emerging problems. Emerging technology. Emerging trends. The emerging trend in sustainable fashion emphasizes eco-friendly practices and materials. Emerging technologies are transforming industries and creating new possibilities for growth. Credibility. The quality of being convincing or believable. Lose credibility. Gain credibility. Maintain credibility. Increase credibility. The scientist's credibility was questioned after several of his research claims were proven false. This report provides a cross-section of the economy, including employment and market trends. Indefinitely. For an unknown or unlimited period of time. Indefinitely suspended. Indefinitely postponed. Indefinitely delayed. Indefinitely closed. Due to the ongoing construction, the road will remain closed indefinitely, causing major delays. The situation in the war-torn country remains uncertain, with peace talks suspended indefinitely. Distortion. To change the appearance, sound, or shape. Distortion of the truth. Distortion of the history. Distortion of the facts. Distortion of the image. The distortion of facts in the media can significantly affect public perception and opinion. Distortion in the audio recording made it difficult to understand what the speaker was saying. Reinforce. To strengthen or support something. Reinforce a perception. Reinforce a notion. Reinforce a belief. Reinforce a stereotype. The construction crew had to reinforce the building's foundation to support the new structure. The general decided to reinforce his troops with additional soldiers before launching the attack. Inhabitant. People or animals that inhabit a place. Indigenous inhabitant. Native inhabitants. Local inhabitants. Original inhabitants. The island's oldest inhabitants shared fascinating stories about its unique history and culture. Every inhabitant of the village contributes to the community's well-being and social cohesion. Correlation. Connection between two or more things. A strong correlation. A direct correlation. A positive correlation. A negative correlation. Studies suggest a strong correlation between regular exercise and improved mental health. Some scientists question the correlation between screen time and attention span in children. Distinct. A difference or contrast between similar things. A distinct class. A distinct category. A distinct type. A distinct entity. The two paintings have a distinct style, making them easily recognizable from each other. The restaurant's menu features distinct flavors that appeal to a variety of taste preferences. Subsidiary. Owned or controlled by another company. Subsidiary company. Subsidiary corporation. Subsidiary conglomerate. Subsidiary bank. As a subsidiary, the branch operates independently but aligns with the parent company's goals. Each subsidiary has distinct responsibilities, contributing to the overall success of the organization. Heritage. Traditions passed down through generations. Ancestors' heritage. World's heritage. Cultural heritage. National heritage. Family stories help preserve heritage and connect younger generations with their ancestors' past. The museum preserves the region's heritage, showcasing artifacts from different historical periods. Juvenile. A young person who is not yet an adult. Juvenile delinquency. Juvenile detention. Juvenile facility. Juvenile violence. The juvenile delinquent was given a second chance through a rehabilitation program for youth. Juvenile crime rates in the area have decreased due to increased community intervention efforts. Commodities. Basic goods or products that can be traded. Basic commodities. Tradable commodities. Marketable commodities. Valuable commodities. The price of basic commodities like food and energy continues to rise dramatically worldwide. The government plans to regulate the trading of agricultural commodities to stabilize the market. Outbreak. A time when something suddenly begins. Disease outbreak. Devastating outbreak. Measles outbreak. Sporadic outbreaks. An outbreak of food-borne illness affected hundreds, prompting an investigation into its source. Preventive measures were intensified across the city to limit the potential impact of the outbreak. Racial. happening between people of different races. Racial discrimination. Racial inequality. Racial prejudice. Racial tension. The school district is implementing racial sensitivity training for all faculty and staff members. The organization works tirelessly to promote racial equality and fight against systemic injustice. Conclusive. Showing that something is certainly true. Conclusive evidence. Conclusive proof. Conclusive results. Conclusive decision. The experiment's results were conclusive, proving the effectiveness of the new medication. The detectives' conclusive findings helped solve the long unsolved case quickly and effectively. Condemn. To express very strong disapproval of something. Strongly condemn. Bitterly condemn. Publicly condemn. Unequivocally condemn. Religious leaders continue to condemn acts of terrorism and call for peace and reconciliation. Many leaders condemn violence and promote peaceful resolutions to political disagreements. Cooperative. Done or owned together with other people. A cooperative approach. A cooperative effort. A cooperative relationship. A cooperative research. They formed a cooperative to buy and sell goods collectively, benefiting the entire community. The cooperative business model empowers workers to make decisions and share profits equally. Contamination. Making something dirty or poisonous. Bacterial contamination. Chemical contamination. Radioactive contamination. Food contamination. Soil contamination can affect agricultural productivity and harm nearby residents' health. Water contamination remains a pressing issue affecting public health and safety worldwide. Incentive. Something that encourages people to work. A financial incentive. An additional incentive. A cash incentive. An extra incentive. Tax incentives encourage individuals and companies to invest in renewable energy projects. An effective incentive structure can motivate employees to exceed their performance expectations. Fundamental. The main or most important rules or parts. Fundamental issue. Fundamental problem. Fundamental question. Fundamental rights. Learning to read and write is fundamental to a child's educational development and growth. Trust is fundamental to building long-lasting relationships, both personally and professionally. Landmark. A building or place that is easily recognized. A historic landmark. A famous landmark. An architectural landmark. A local landmark. They celebrated the landmark anniversary of the organization's founding with a grand event. This court decision became a landmark case, influencing future legal interpretations of the law. Migration. Seasonal movement of people and animals. Annual migration. Seasonal migration. Large-scale migration. Winter migration. Bird migration patterns change depending on the season and weather conditions each year. Researchers study migration trends to understand demographic shifts and economic impacts. Exemption. Permission to ignore rules or obligations. Exemption from a law. Exemption from a tax. Seek an exemption. Grant an exemption. Tax exemptions are often given to individuals who meet specific financial or personal criteria. The new policy includes an exemption for senior citizens from paying for public transportation. Feminine. Qualities traditionally associated with women. A feminine trait. A feminine attribute. A feminine ideal. A feminine role. The collection featured a mix of feminine colors and soft, elegant fabrics for evening wear. The design showcased feminine touches like delicate lace and floral embroidery throughout. Groundbreaking. Innovative and introducing new ideas. A groundbreaking research. A groundbreaking discovery. A groundbreaking ceremony. A groundbreaking study. Groundbreaking discoveries in astronomy have expanded our understanding of the universe. Groundbreaking innovations often come from creative minds willing to challenge conventions. Humanitarian. Promoting human welfare and social reform. Humanitarian aid. Humanitarian crisis. Humanitarian relief. Humanitarian effort. His humanitarian values led him to work with non-profits focused on global health initiatives. The organization sent humanitarian aid to communities affected by the recent natural disaster. Imminent. Giving signs of immediate occurrence. An imminent threat. An imminent danger. An imminent attack. An imminent war. His promotion felt imminent after years of dedication and consistently high performance. Experts believe an economic downturn may be imminent if inflation rates continue to rise. Vivid. Producing powerful feelings or clear images. A vivid description. A vivid portrait. A vivid imagery. A vivid recollection. The novel's vivid portrayal of the city's nightlife gives the readers a true sense of excitement. Her vivid descriptions of the mountain range made the hike sound exhilarating and unforgettable. Volatile. Likely to change suddenly and unexpectedly. A volatile market. A volatile economy. A volatile situation. A volatile region. The volatile chemical reactions in the lab created a dangerous environment for the researchers. The situation grew increasingly volatile as tensions between the two countries continued to rise. Yield. To supply or produce something. Yield results. Yield information. Yield clues. Yield insights. The debates may yield favorable results, but they still require careful discussion between parties. The research project will eventually yield valuable data on the effects of climate change on wildlife. Obesity. Excessive accumulation of body fat. The obesity epidemic. The obesity rate. Childhood obesity. Adult obesity. Obesity can negatively affect one's quality of life and lead to significant health complications. Obesity can lead to serious health issues, including diabetes, heart disease, and joint problems. Accumulate. To collect or increase something gradually. Accumulate wealth. Accumulate debt. Accumulate wisdom. Accumulate knowledge. It's easy to accumulate debt without realizing how quickly interest charges add up each month. Clouds accumulate in the sky before a storm, often signaling heavy rainfall in the coming hours. Diversification. Include more different types of things. Social diversification. Cultural diversification. Geographic diversification. Economic diversification. Diversification of investment portfolios reduces risk by spreading funds across various assets. Business owners often seek diversification as a way to mitigate risk during economic downturns. Discretionary. Left to individual choice or judgment. Discretionary authority. Discretionary power. Discretionary grant. Discretionary fund. Discretionary bonuses are awarded based on individual performance and company profits. Personal investments are generally considered part of one's discretionary financial choices. Surpass. Better or more than something else. Surpass a mark. Surpass a record. Surpass an achievement. Surpass an expectation. Despite the challenges, the company's profits have continued to surpass expectations this year. The sales figures this quarter are expected to surpass last year's numbers by a significant margin. Picturesque. Pretty or charming like a painted picture. Picturesque view. Picturesque scenery. Picturesque location. Picturesque landscape. The village is situated in a picturesque valley, surrounded by rolling hills and colorful flowers. Surrounded by picturesque scenes, the cabin provided a peaceful retreat from the bustling city. Undermine. Make something less important and less powerful. Undermine a notion. Undermine a theory. Undermine an assumption. Undermine an argument. The spreading rumors are intended to undermine the company's reputation in the market. The opposing party attempted to undermine the credibility of the proposal during the debate. Unethical. Not morally right or acceptable. Unethical practices. Unethical activity. Unethical conduct. Unethical behavior. It is unethical for a company to exploit workers by paying them below the minimum wage. The journalist was criticized for unethical reporting that misrepresented the facts to the public. Prominent. Standing out or well-known and important. A prominent role. A prominent figure. A prominent feature. A prominent celebrity. The prominent landmarks in the city make it a popular destination for international tourists. His prominent role in the community earned him respect and admiration from local residents. Prone. Having a tendency to be or act in a certain way. Prone to damage. Prone to attack. Prone to accident. Prone to injury. People who work long hours are often prone to stress-related illnesses and burnout over time. The beachside town is prone to heavy storms, especially during the hurricane season each year. Proximity. The state of being near in space or time. Close proximity. Geographical proximity. Physical proximity. Intimate proximity. Residents in proximity to factories often experience higher levels of noise and air pollution. Living in close proximity to the city center offers easy access to various amenities and events. Abnormal. Deviating from the normal or average. Abnormal bleeding. Abnormal behavior. Abnormal rhythm. Abnormal heartbeat. Her test results showed abnormal readings, so the doctor recommended additional tests. An abnormal spike in demand caused supply chain disruptions and logistical complications. Catastrophe. Sudden violent event that brings about great loss. A humanitarian catastrophe. An environmental catastrophe. An economic catastrophe. An imminent catastrophe. The financial crisis was a catastrophe for many families, causing unemployment and hardship. Wildlife faced catastrophe when the forest fires destroyed their natural habitats this summer. Collaboration. To work jointly with others or together. A scientific collaboration. A technical collaboration. A research collaboration. A major collaboration. Scientific collaboration across nations accelerates progress in solving global health challenges. Creative industries thrive when there is collaboration between artists from diverse backgrounds. Rhetorical. Relating to effective speaking or writing. A rhetorical question. A rhetorical situation. A rhetorical device. A rhetorical consideration. Rhetorical strategies are common in political speeches to influence audience perceptions. He used rhetorical questions to highlight the flaws in the opponent's argument effectively.